Buongiorno, and today we're at Robin Hood's Bay and we're going on a walk from Robin Hood's Bay to Whitby Abbey, which is 6.5 miles, and we've just had a cup of tea in the nice cafe up there, and then we'll be going up these steps up there to start our walk on the Cleveland Way to Whitby Abbey. We've now come down to Wayfoot, where you can get access onto the beach at Robin Hood's Bay. Obviously you can't do that at the moment because the tide's in. You can also see to our left here, if I zoom in, you can see the beck there going into the sea, which was used in times gone by to smuggle contraband which had been landed at Robin Hood's Bay through the town and then on to its next destination. So if we pan round now, we're walking up the road here, and it's a steep climb up the hill to get out of Robin Hood's Bay and to get onto the cliff top to walk to Whitby Abbey. So we've now walked it up to the top of the hill, and we've now got a nice view looking down on the town, and then we zoom in, you can see the beach there where we've walked from. So what we're doing now is we're walking out of Robin Hood's Bay down Station Road, and then we're going to take a right up here down Mount Pleasant North. We've now walked up Mount Pleasant North. Make sure you walk up Mount Pleasant North and not Mount Pleasant South. And we're going up in this direction on the Cleveland Way, following the signpost over there pointing us in this direction for the Cleveland Way. So you have to do a left and then a right, and then you walk down this cinder track here down the Cleveland Way, just following the people in front of us. Now we've not walked very far on the cinder track, and we've come to a fork in the path, and what we need to do is to take the right fork on the Cleveland Way. We're now actually walking on the cliff tops by the coast, and you see we've got a splendid view of Robin Hood's Bay. And if we zoom in, you can see Robin Hood's Bay itself and where we started our walk a little earlier. So we're walking along, and you can see how the path hugs the edge of the cliff. So the path going downwards directly in front of us, and then if we move round to our left, you see it moves upwards over there. We've got quite a spectacular view here of the cliff tops along the Cleveland Way as we're moving northwards. The path at this point moves inland, and you go up to the top of the cliff up there, and then you walk along the cliff top, and that's where we're heading next. We've now come to the top of the cliff, and we've got a nice view looking back from where we've just walked. And if we pan round, you can see the tide coming in, and the next headland in front of us, which you can see over the bracken. We've come to something that's very typical on this walk. You'll see we've got some steps down here, and these lead down to a bridge which takes us across a beck, and then we have to go up the steps to continue our walk, which, as you can see, will continue on over onto the headland in the distance. We've now come to the point where the Cleveland Way and the Coast to Coast path go in different directions. So here's the sign here. It says that the Coast to Coast path goes to the left, which is up those steps there and then up there, whereas the Cleveland Way, we go straight on the path here. Also, if you walk down to the sign, you'll see that it says it's 3.5 miles to Whitby and 3 miles to Robin Hood's Bay. So we're nearly halfway on the walk. Looking back, there's a magnificent view of the cliffs we've just walked over. I should also add that since we've walked past the Coast to Coast sign, which said it was 3.5 miles to Whitby, and then walked about half a mile and came to another sign which said it was 3.5 miles to Whitby. So I'd imagine now it's probably about 3 miles to Whitby now, assuming that the second sign was correct. If it's not, we're a bit nearer to Whitby than I thought. Okay, I've walked a bit further along the path now and you can make out the lighthouse there on the shoreline. Okay, we've now arrived at this old lighthouse and there's a sign next to the entrance to the lighthouse which says it's rural retreats, holiday cottages with character and style. So that's what it says there. The Cleveland Way has come down I've come down these steps here and we carry on across this roadway which leads to the holiday cottages down here on our trek towards Whitby Abbey. Okay, we've just turned round the corner and we've got our first view of Whitby Abbey in the distance there. So trying to keep my hand steady, and there is Whitby Abbey. In front of it there you'll see the Whitby Holiday Park, where you've got motorhomes and holiday chalets. In front of us we've got Saltwick Bay. The rock immediately in front of us, that is Black Nab. Then if we pan round, we've got the bay over there. We can zoom in on Saltwick Bay, which is a sandy beach, and then if we pan round further, the rock you see there is Saltwick Nab, and then on the headland above the bay you'll see Whitby Holiday Park, and then you've got to your left Whitby Abbey. So we've got a slightly better view here of Saltwick Bay, and you can also, if you look closely, see that there are steps which go down to the bay, and there's the line of steps there, and you can follow the line of steps as they go from the bay up to the cliff edge and then onto Whitby Holiday Park, and then you can see the Whitby Abbey in front of you. Okay, we're now at Whitby Holiday Park, and there's a sign in front of us saying that it's 1 mile to Whitby, or 1 mile to Whitby Abbey, to be more precise. Now we can tell that we're getting near to Whitby now, because not only can you see Whitby Abbey, but also if we zoom out and pan round to the right, you'll see that we've got the piers here, the entrance to Whitby Harbour. So there's the East Pier and West Pier, and then beyond that, if we zoom out, you can see the headland at Sand's End. As we near the end of our walk and you see Whitby Abbey in the distance, if you zoom in on the cliffs you can see the coastal erosion where part of the cliff has sort of fallen down onto the beach below, and that's right the way along this stretch of cliff here where there is continual coastal erosion. Okay, you can see from the sign that it says it's 6.5 miles to Robin Hood's Bay, so we've arrived at Whitby Abbey, and if we pan round to our right, there is Whitby Abbey and the end of our walk. You can walk a further half mile down the 199 steps into the east cliff of Whitby and then beyond to West Cliff, and you can see West Cliff there in front of us. And with that, that's the end of our walk. I'm going for a cup of tea and I'll say arrivederci.